episode 31 of the MAINcast, presented by the Main in the city of Santa Clarita. My name is Calliope, and I'm one of the co-hosts of the festival. The MAINcast is part of the International Stage on Screen Theater Festival, which is an 8-week online fest that presents plays from all around the world. This is week 8 of SOS, which is the last week of the festival, and we are performing 2 different shows back-to-back on Friday. The first one is Unpack, which comes from Romania, and the second show is 61 Inches and 1,000 Trillion Tons from New York, that is based on the author's travels through Europe. This event will start at 7 p.m. PST, where we will play both shows back to back, and then it will premiere both on Zoom webinar and Facebook Live, and there will be a talk back after the show on Zoom. Today we have cast and crew members from both productions, so can I please have our lovely guests arrive? Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So can you all please introduce yourself and tell your role in the show?
Hi, my name is Catalina Florescu. I'm the playwright for Unpack. It's interesting that we are back to back with the LS play because I'm actually teaching at Pace University, which is a nice coincidence. I was born in Romania. I came here 23 years ago, and Leo is a director for the play. And Leo could introduce himself.
Hi, yeah, I'm Leo Bacica. I am the director of Unpack, and seeing that I'm also the only man in this group, I want to mark the fact that now when we're recording, this is the 8th of March and it's International Women's Day, and I want to express my gratitude for all my colleagues, female colleague creators. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. That's probably the best introduction I've ever received. Hi, I'm Ellis. I'm the playwright of 61 Inches. And yeah, I'm currently a playwriting MFA at Columbia University. And I'm in New York City, as you can tell by the city sounds. And Brittany is my lovely, spectacular director.
Hi, my name is Brittany Henry, and I am in St. Louis. I'm a local actress and a theater creator, artistic director. I do a lot with theater. I'm the director of 61 Inches, and due to unforeseen circumstances, I am also playing the poet in that production.
Wow, everyone has multiple roles.
Yes.
So can I have you all talk a little bit about your show? We'll start with Unpack, and then we'll do 61 Inches.
Unpacked is a play that I started to write a few years ago before COVID-19, but it resonates pretty well with the current situation. It is my first autobiographical play. I have another autobiographical play in Romanian, a full-length play. It's really about simple things surrounding us and how those simple things may actually play an important role in our lives. It is about objects that surround us and how we invest in them. How sometimes we forget about those unless, we have to pack and unpack. And it's also about those people in our lives whom we love, regardless where they are currently. Leo?
Yeah. I want to tell a quick story about how we got around to doing this play, because I was having a chat. I've worked with Catalina previously in a professional capacity, and then we discovered that we are both supporter of the same Romanian soccer team. And while talking about this, she said, "Well, I've written a play about this," and I was very curious. Yeah, I want to read it, and. There is a short episode in Unpack about football and about what it meant to the 14-year-old character in the play. But in the end, Unpack is actually a very emotional journey. It's talking about family, talking about being uprooted, the feeling of home, and how we identify home, and yeah, I think it's actually a very emotional play. Sorry, there was a bit of feedback there. Yeah, I think I'm very proud of what we achieved. I think it's quite a touching play. I hope people will feel the same when they see it.
Very cool. Godspeed. Okay, sweet. Going off that, I think commonalities between the two. How I wrote this was 2 years ago, right after graduating. I did something I've always wanted to do. Got the first plane ticket to anywhere, one way, just to see if I could. And so I went to Spain. I fortunately knew a little bit of Spanish, enough to like sit in places and just listen to people talk without necessarily like having to interact. I think that that like taking a second, taking a moment to yourself in like a public space. Sorry, pardon the sound effects. But I mean, it just like it was like moments like that that I was just so aware of like the collective human experience. Like everyone's going somewhere, everyone's coming from somewhere, everyone has a family, everyone has these like objects that you kind of spoke of. I like to think about as like kind of like spiritual passport stamps, sort of, you know, like or like souvenirs, like a lost and found. Like we're just like gathering items along the way, we're carrying them along. From place to place, wherever home means at the moment, even if home is just like a hotel room for one night or a friend's couch or something, you know, we're still like carrying these items that represent home with us. You know, sometimes heavy and sometimes really light. So I was kind of really thinking about like my place in the world, my family, my travels, but in relation to everyone else's on a grander scale. So it takes place in Spain, and it borrows, you know, dialogue from people like I met on the streets, my hostel mother, you know, these narratives, and then also, my own adventures in other places at other times too, because I think like every journey, you know, has its similarities, and then also, of course, like it's once in a lifetime kind of like moments too. And I think it's really cool to be thinking about all this during this era where, you know, I don't know about you all, but like I'm having dreams of just like carrying luggage in an airport, you know. I like I would do anything, but so to be able to experience that sentiment together, all of us, even through these screens, is like so powerful. Like that's like transcendent, that's travel beyond like even definition, you know. So travel onwards. Brittany. Here you go.
I love hearing you talk about this play. That's so great. When I first read this play, it was about traveling. On the surface, it was about traveling, and I really picked up on that because taking stock of my life, I realized that I travel a lot. I travel more than I thought I did. And then when I can't travel, when I had to think about, oh, right now I might be traveling, but I can't because of COVID. So that's what I picked up most when I read the play first. And then as we were rehearsing it, like every time we read it, we picked up on something new, but it was always about traveling and connections. And just like she said, everybody has a mother, everybody has those things that they pick up as they travel. And it doesn't have to be literally traveling. It can be traveling through just your life in the same place. You don't have to go anywhere special. And you grow and you learn things and you pick things up, physical things and, you know, growth things. And so that's what really drew me to the play, being kind of stuck here because of COVID, but also remembering the places that I've been and remembering, you know, those experiences in a literal sense. So that's what really drew me to this play. Yeah, and I decided to pre-record it as opposed to a Zoom play because I thought that we could capture it would better capture the idea that we're not together at all. Like we can't be together. Somebody has to send me a video from their house and then we can cut it together. So I really liked that.
I think it's so unique and perfect and such a coincidence that we're showing two completely different shows that have such a common experience in it. And I really love that. I think it's going to be a great night of theater. So Catalina and Ellis, you both touched on this a little bit already, but both of these are semi-autobiographical plays. So how did you translate your real life into a script, into a story with characters, and with a full plot? You know.
I think I'm gonna start to go back to the loop. First of all, I think unlike Ellis, I think I say this correctly. Unlike Ellis, I'm an accidental playwright. So what I write comes from no pressure whatsoever. I write as I please. And with this particular piece, Unpack, because of the nature of its plot, it's very personal. And I pretty much translated all my feelings. I put them, on the piece of paper. With other pieces, I try, to translate those feelings to make them fit with a scene or a character. But with this one, it's pretty much a simple narrative about a love relationship. Alice?
Thank you. Oh, you're so articulate. Yeah, I mean, when I'm writing my own stories in my own words, I kind of think about all the different personalities and experiences inside each of us. And I sort of kind of release all of those, the different parts of myself. So I pretty much have like my past, present, future, and my different, my different just like energies, my optimistic, wide-eyed traveler, and then my cynical sort of like angry, angsty, spirit too, in conversation with each other. That's sort of how I wrote this and how I write autobiographical pieces in general. I sit down and I'm like, I'm feeling love. I'm feeling heartbreak. I'm feeling journey. I'm feeling complacency. I'm feeling trapped, and then I kind of like like I just said, like the different sides of myself kind of battle that out, talk it out, hug it out, that's pretty much how I get away with just writing my own my own stories. But I said this one too is kind of neat because it is my experience, my experiences, but then also others that I picked up for example, from talking to my hostile mother and both relating over, adolescent relationships, and then like being broken up with and having family and loving people that are far away, like it was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So this is something someone else knows too. And then that's a conversation as well. So I often, I guess I just kind of, I talk to myself a lot in real life and on the page. And then I love hearing directors and actors breathe like full developed life into those characters. So so thank you, Brittany.
I love the fact that it's rare. It's more rare, I guess, to be able to work on a play with the playwright right there. So Leo and Brittany, do you want to talk about like how it was working with the playwright and being able to ask them questions, when you wanted a clearer direction for the show, and then you can also talk about your vision for the play, and then how did that change when presenting it for an online audience?
I'm very grateful for the relationship I have with Catalina because we've worked together on a previous play of hers, and I feel there's a lot of trust between the two of us, and absolutely, it's really helpful to have the writer in the room to be able to get feedback, and to be able to sort of see if we're still on track, because directing a play actually means bringing the writer's vision to life, and it's much easier to know if you're doing that, if the writer can actually signal you on the way. Yeah, it's closer to what I want, or the way I saw this is a bit different. So absolutely, I mean, again, it's incredibly helpful to have such a direct access to the writer, and my job has been made all the easier because we've got such a great relationship. Catalina and I, we get along great. So yeah, it's been smooth sailing on my part.
Honestly, this is the first time I've seen Ellis's face. I've I sent her an email early. You seem great, so I'm glad to meet you.
Yeah, this is really working out. Yes.
I sent an email early on about a couple things, and she responded very promptly. But honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with playwrights. So as like collaborating with a playwright. So it wasn't something that was in the forefront of my mind, but at a certain point, I realized that I could ask her questions because she was right there. And I knew that the theater company knew her. And so I did send an email, but so that was one thing. Sorry, what was the question? The vision for the play?
Yeah. Like, what was your vision?
Sorry, I kind of lost track.
How did it change or adapt because you were presenting it for an online audience versus in person?
Oh, okay. So yeah, when I read it, I never thought of it as a play on a stage. I always thought of it as a kind of a filmic situation. And so it wasn't really hard for me to take it from the stage to the screen. I always thought of it as something that would be on the screen, but also I always thought of it as something that would be pre-recorded. And I did have to take it from recording all with all of us together, with either me or somebody else recording it live, to them recording it independently and then sending it to me and me cutting it together. So that was the only kind of switch that I had to make. But I will say that this play really translates very well to film, to video. And I don't think that I could have captured that on a Zoom. So I really wanted to capture the vision of the playwright and the words in a kind of a different way than Zoom, because not Zoom plays are valuable. Zoom plays are great. I have enjoyed Zoom plays, but I just didn't think that this was the right medium. So that was my decision. Even before I knew that this was happening, we had already made that decision. So, and I'm glad I made that decision.
So, and that's a great segue into, I guess, non-conventional online theater, if that's what we want to call it now. Leo and Catalina, you guys actually performed your show on stage and filmed it. Do you want to talk about your process?
Well, we were very lucky to have the opportunity to do this because we're supported by the Romanian Cultural Institute in London, and they've made the space available for us. And they have this huge ballroom, which looks very nice, very fancy, and we had it all to ourselves. There were 3 people in that huge room, and we were able to make it look theatrical. And make it look like a theater stage. And I think, I mean, I'm very grateful for us to have been able to do that, because it's a completely different feeling when you see the whole, like the entire body of the actor and the movement and the interaction with the objects. It feels theatrical. I think I was opposed to the idea of doing it on Zoom from the beginning. As Brittany said, you can do great things on Zoom, but I wanted to convey the theatrical feeling as much as possible, and we've filmed it continuously. Even though it's edited between like 2 or 3 performances, but including the close-ups were filmed as part of a continuous performance, so that the focus is really on the performance, on the movement, on obviously on the delivery of the text. I think it's as close as we were able to make it to the experience of being in the same room.
Anybody else can add to that if you want to. Catalina, did you?
Well, I was just going to say, I'm also happy that this was recorded versus Zoom. Probably I'm the most critical of Zoom of the 5 of us. Actually, I completely dislike Zoom performances. because it doesn't give any freedom to the actor to explore with their bodies and the environment. So I was actually very happy when the Romanian Culture Institute in London offered us the space. And for me, it was a different experience altogether. And one day it should be performed on stage.
Yeah. Do you think, Ellis, do you think that your show is ever going to be on stage, or do you want to keep it in this filmed format?
That's a great question. I mean, originally, actually, what's funny is that was a gig I guess I had lined up before all this happened. That was like the classic, you know, like what show will be happening for you next week, and then right before everything like shut down, you know. But honestly, I mean, everything happens, you know, for a reason and whatnot. And exactly as Brittany was saying, I personally, when I was writing it, I wasn't really imagining it in film, but I also wasn't really imagining it on stage either. It's you know, just imagery, vision. I'm the playwright. That's the director's job. But so to hear what Brittany is saying makes like perfect sense. And the second that was brought up to me as an idea, you know, I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, exactly, you know. Thank you for figuring out what I was seeing and painting, you know. And I mean, on this topic of, you know, Zoom theater and all of this, I feel the same as anyone. I mean, I'm going to school right now, and, you know, like this is not what I expected to be learning. It's like how to be like quirky in a little square by yourself, you know, like it's just like weird and sad. But it's also like, I don't know, I personally am like choosing to find some like possibility in it, exactly as Brittany is saying, and we're all doing, you know, like by recording, by still sharing, you know, and acknowledging like not trying to force it, not trying to like force human person to person magic over the screens, but just like finding other avenues, like other methods to at least still be creating and like watching, you know. Like, you know, as we're all saying, this isn't what we'd usually be doing, but we're doing something, and like that in itself is really, really awesome. And it just keeps keeps us going. So yeah, I'm just honored and like inspired, I guess, by the fact that we're all still doing something.
Do you want to briefly talk about what's coming up next for you and your company? Are you guys working on any of the shows?
Should I start then? Because we're actually developing a project with Catalina, which we're hoping to get funding for. We've picked 10 characters from the Romanian classical literature, classical canon, and we want to take these characters and put them all in a play and make it obviously, because it's 10 female characters, it's gonna have a strong feminist element. But what we're also trying to do is to get the Romanian public closer to rediscover or to look at the works from a different perspective, and the non-Romanian audience, English-speaking audience mostly, to maybe see if they find anything interesting in the works and maybe take a closer look at the Romanian literature and see what's happening there.
I think this project for me personally would be it is actually very ambitious, because I'm always interested in changing the outdated curricula, both in my native country and the United States. And aside from this project, if we get funds, if we are funded, I hope the theaters in New York City and everywhere will reopen, so I can have the premiere of my play on breast cancer. And that should be all. And the other thing is to go back to traveling. To sum it up. Alice?
Yeah, thanks. I guess so originally what I was going to be presenting in this festival, and again, I mean, I appreciate the flexibility and, you know, an openness to jumping in and trying new things considering the circumstances. That play will be going up in April as a Zoom with the Vaclav Havel Library Foundation. That's called The People's Toast. It's a Czech absurd play. And then they're also doing it this summer. They're doing it on a rooftop. They're getting very creative. Yeah. So the audience gets to like hang out down in like bar pop-ups watching it. Yeah, what will people think of next? But yeah, so that's what's next for me. Yeah. Brittany / Overdue Theater Company.
Nice. I am in a play with Midnight Theater Company here in St. Louis in October, I believe. It got pushed back. It was supposed to be last summer, but it got pushed to this year. I'm also working on some stuff for Independent Theater Company, which is the theater company here in St. Louis that I'm the artistic director for. Right now, we're just reading plays and making plans for when we can jump back on stage, or when we can get people together to film projects that we've been working on, that we've been planning. So that's pretty much it for me.
Working on multiple projects at once. That's what theater artists do, right? So to close out this episode, do you all want to talk about what you hope audiences can get away, can get from this show? Oh my goodness, hello.
I'm sorry, I was hoping nobody would notice me. I was hoping to slip in quietly.
I'm
Hi.
going to say actually, hi, this is Maria. Maria is the actress. It's a one-woman show for Unpack. So Maria, really quick, we're gonna jump right in with you.
Cool.
Do you want to talk about your experience preparing for this role?
Yeah, so obviously this was an experience like no other in this because of everything. But not just. It was also it was actually a great privilege to have the actual author there present with us, especially since this was a very autobiographical piece. So in a sense, this made my job a lot easier, because whatever doubts or questions I had, I didn't have to, use my actual brain to fill in the gaps. I could just ask, what does this mean? Which was a great help. And Catalina was extremely open and helpful and willing to assist in every way with explanations and with talking about her experience. So I couldn't be more grateful for that.
That's wonderful. We're so happy you're here. I know
I'm really sorry. I do apologize for being late. I couldn't get out of work. I'm really sorry, but it's bad time management on my part.
No, everything's good. We're so glad you were able to come at the end. So now to wrap up this episode, everyone, I would love for you to hear, for you to say what you hope audiences will take away from this show when they see it on Friday.
So back to me. What I would love them to experience is, again, returning to these objects. Alice said spiritual passports, and I think I agree with her as well. I would like to the audience to think of the tangible objects, but also those that are not tangible and we carry with us. And they will discover on Friday what I'm talking about, because it is definitely a love play, but it's also a memory play. Leo?
Oh, wow, how do you follow? Obviously, I can't say anything different than Catalina now, because then I'd be wrong.
No, please do. I like to be contradicted.
When, as I said before, when we started talking about it, I got all hyped up and excited because, oh my God, we're gonna make a play about soccer. I'm a big fan. It's yeah.
Had the opposite effect on me,
but it's embedded into this wider narrative of obviously the personal story of the people we love and how much of the people we love we carry with us. But also there's this growing idea in current theater, because outside the past year, our world is becoming, but even in the past year, see, the fact that you're bringing together theater from all over the world is amazing. and the fact that the world is more and more interconnected, it makes us question the idea of home and the idea of belonging and identity, question them more and more. And that is also quite present in our play. I would love if the main takeaway for the audience is once the show is over, they think of a loved one and they make a phone call.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, to borrow from both of your hopes, because yeah, this is all interconnected. Yeah, I'd say my piece is a memory piece as well. And so what I'd love the audience to be feeling and doing is slipping in and out of their own memories while they're seeing my memories, I guess. And then acknowledging that like interconnectedness of all of our experiences. So just to like afterwards acknowledge the fact that we're all human beings and everything that we've been saying this whole half hour and working on this whole year, maybe our whole lives, I don't know, are just like we can like relate to each other with and so ideally at my folk afterwards, I love phone call. That's so sweet. Maybe they'll journal a little bit. Maybe just like every. I mean, like the talk back. I'm really excited about because I think that's something that's kind of lost nowadays. Since we don't have lobbies after a show to mix and mingle in. So to be able to all be in a screen in this like space together, laughing or crying or reminiscing. Like that's like magic. That's like human magic. And the fact that like, I don't know about you all, but I can feel your energies right now. Here you go. Here's mine. I like that. That's like human. And the fact that we can be doing this from literally all corners of the world, like that just like that like overwhelming like love that I feel right now. And I hope you all felt at various points in the process. That's like what I want people to feel after our event.
I love that. All of that. Thank you. But I like when you said that when people watch it, that they'll remember their experiences and their memories also. And I think that's something that will happen. It's built into it, but also I also hope that is something that the audience takes away.
Maria, go ahead and close this out. Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Sorry, hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Sorry,
Okay,
you
cool.
cut off from
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't really much to add. Everyone's really hit the nail on the head. Our piece is obviously about it. Well, for me, it's very much about facing your past and remember your loved ones, and whatever that means to you. Then I hope that is what you will take away from the play, and that is what everyone will take away from it. Self-reflection. In the sense of look at what has made you who you are and what has brought you where you are now, but also look at who has been on this journey with you, whether they're still there or not, and remember them. Pretty much.
That's perfect. Well, thank you all so much. I think that's a great way to close out the episode. So I wanted to say thank you so much to Leo, Catalina, Ellis, Brittany, and Maria for joining me today. It was so lovely to meet you all for the first time, meet some of you for the first time, meet some of you again. And thank you, of course, to our audiences who watch the MAINcast every week. Please tune in to watch Unpack and 61 Inches and 1,000 Trillion Tons this Friday, March 12th at 7 p.m. PST with a talkback following the performance. The Zoom link is the same every week. It's always posted on our Facebook page. And don't forget to check out the other events we have at the Main, including 10 by 10, food sessions, and New Heights, and the 2 upcoming shows in collaboration with One Story, One City. That's going to be the next 2 weeks in March after this Friday. Again, thank you all so much for being here. We will see you on Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.